Good morning out there, in there, out there, in there, out there. See, I can say it more times than Stephen Colbert. From in here, out here, there's Vivi's nose. Welcome to the Sentimentalist. Hi, Mark. Slurp. I have on a t-shirt that Marianne Sundquist gave me. It says, Whitman was Jesus. And Julie made this. Last night was one of those nights that you get once. Never happens again, and it's one of the most beautiful nights. Getting to have this conversation at Holland, up the road here at their library, beautiful library. Their beautiful library, and Anne-Marie. Is there anybody like Anne-Marie? The fusion, the inseparability of the farm girl and elegance is remarkable. And of course, everybody was moved by what she read and blown away by my insightful questions, which were conceived by Julie, but it's the way I said them, you know. Oh, it was beautiful. So thank you if you were there. Thank you so much. I'm funny when I'm about done with it, but I read this Reform Journal to see if I can do it. I'm sorry, I just insulted some of you, but I've never gotten it since I came here in '71, and I don't get it still. And one of the things that was written was this combination: Calvinist humility. So, some of you may be humble for all the wrong reasons, or not. I never knew it needed it. It just kills me. I never knew it needed an adjective. I thought humility, you know. Oh, well, we'll put that in front of everything. Calvinist morning. Calvinist sunshine. Holy cow. Well, let's see what we had this week, huh? Because I can't remember. I'm too old. If any of you could help me out a little bit, any of you might. I went to the dermatologist, and they said I had all this precancerous stuff, and it set me up for 5, I don't know what they are, stingy sessions. You know, I'm going to be 79 in about a week or two. I want to know, do I really need that? I mean, what do I care? I'm walking around with neuropathy, arthritis from here to here. What, you know, do I need to spend 2 hours, 5 different times being stung? It doesn't hurt. I don't care about hurt. I'm a coach's kid. I play with pain. Bibby's nose wants to say hi again after that good slurp. Whew, that was good. I had the most beautiful notes from the poet Lee Young Lee and the writer Jim McFarlane, who was indicted. Hey, Jim, you were indicted. Inducted into the Michigan Journalists Hall of Fame. And I loved it. You know, I'm just so lucky to have. Jim was a wonderful student. Lee Young, I've known since he was about 7, so he wasn't in class. Let's see what we have here. Oh, the most unusual thing happened. On the very same day, I got an email from one of the people I work with, and an email from another. One, Karen Morris in Montpelier, Vermont. One, Marianne Sundquist, made the t-shirt, it's her fault. Marianne Sundquist from Santa Fe. Both got books accepted on the same day. Same day. Oh. Wow, that's remarkable. That is remarkable. We have to go back to my little town. Vivi's here. You noticed that she wasn't. You want to come up, buddy? Come on, girl. Hop up. Yeah. Vivi is a Spinoni, as you know, and Spinonis, while they're very smart, and their language, she knows so many words. And it says in the dog books, honest to gosh, it says that they decide. You know, if you call Vivi, and yesterday was one of those days where she was going to decide. She was deep in the woods over that way, and Vivi, come, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm. She finally did, and then we had beautiful visits from former students. Bob Cruz, who just brings a kind of quiet gentleness, and is funny, and Jonah Ogles and his spouse Taylor Hughes and their two beautiful children, Auden and Ferren. Two little girls, never a peep out of the little one was just born recently. Nothing. 2.5 hours. Nothing. And they are the calmest. Oh man, I would have liked to have learned from them. You know, Meredith would tumble down and I'd have to have smelling salts. They were just wonderful. Wow. And we love them to death, you know, anyway. So this is, I've been, on Monday, my close friend Jim Alice and I, we get into these discussions, and they're you might want to tune out now because they're very nuancy. I mean, we're just goofy that way. So this one was grief and sorrow. And we decided that grief is ever present. Sorrow is, boom, something that you carry for a while, and kind of goes away. Where do you want to be, sweetie? Do you want to be over there with Mom? You want to hop up? Just see? You want to hop up? You want to go over there? You want me to clamber up because these papers are frightening and they're in the way. There, I moved a piece of paper because there was no way. It was blocking. A piece of paper was blocking Vivi. Where was I? Grief and sorrow. But you know, I was thinking about that. Yeah, grief is something. I like these two prepositions. Grief is something you're with, and sorrow is something that happens that you do get over. Now it may come again, but then you get over it again. And I like that because right now I've got a lot of grief. Like what, you know, abandonment. But not sorrow. Boy, after last night, and Susanna Childress, who runs this, and she gave us presents and, you know, a bounty of things, and boy. And of course, my director, the amazing Julie, has this all set up, and she's knitting, and that's lovely. You know what's a 4-letter word? Self. That's the worst. That's the worst one. Self. I just hate that word. Self. What else? Self-absorption. No. You have to go within to be in touch with your grandmother. That's not self-absorption. It's not self. I don't know what a self is. There is no self. There's just us, and we are whatever or whoever, as our daughter taught us, we're with. That's it. There's no self. How do you spell Freud? Is that a 6-letter word? Get rid of that, too. It was our daughter's birthday on Saturday, and we all got much older. Yeah. Yeah, we did. Here's a good thing. Linda Gregg, the poet, Linda Gregg, when she teaches, She tells her students every day to see 6 things. Not notice. See. Oh, by the way, this is all this. I don't know if this is on the. Is this on the thing? Oh, we can't see. Well, there's a spinning wheel there, and it's a cool, hip, small. What do you call them? Huh?
Electric wheel.
Electric wheel. Over there is a really hip one. It's got a bigger wheel, and over there is an enormous wheel, which is 160 years or more years old. Huh. Really cool. Hi, Mariana. We love you. Well, let's see if there's anything else. Oh, self, we got to get rid of that thing and just, get rid of that. People think, well, I wrote a poem. I write a poem. There's 51 elements, 51 artistic techniques to writing a poem, and they say free verse is easy. That's 51 different things to choose from. Maybe you luck out and don't have to know any of that, and they just show up. Not for me. I have to choose from them. Oh, that was a good slurp. Good slurp. Good grief. So, look at 6 things. It'll help. It really will. It really, really will. And then the last thing I'd like to say, how's our time? Do you know? No? Oh, okay. Well, then I'll ramble on till noon. Gosh, I love to walk with Vivi. And she's over there. Abandoned the guy who gives her everything. So this is the final 4. Huh? How are your brackets? What brackets, huh? When Coach Calipari from Kentucky invited my mom and me and my sister to New York when they were in the Final 4, Kentucky was... No, it wasn't Kentucky. It was UMass, I think. Or Memphis. UMass, because Memphis was San Antonio where we went. Okay, so anyway, there we are in New York. My mother pulls her Final 4 tickets out and holds them up like this in Penn Station. I thought we'd be killed. Do you want to abolish Penn Station? Big deal in New York. So anyway, we go to this little tiny dinery restaurant, and only in New York, I think. So the Final 4 is in New York, and we're sitting there with our daughter who's on an art semester thing in New York, working with a sculptor. And the guy waiting on us says, are you from here? Are you in town? And we said, no, we were from out of town. Well, why are you here for anything? We said, yeah, we're here for the Final 4. And he said, the final what? Now, that's not New York. Any other city would be, oh, wow. The final what? In my little town, there was we had to use phones when I was a kid, the operator, Mrs. Totten. That's how little our town was. You had to go through the operator. And she would tell you. So my mom's calling Betty Saladay, and Mrs. Totten said, oh, good heavens, no, I'm not going to even try to put you through. Betty's on the phone now with Betty Green, and that'll be at least 20 more minutes, maybe a half hour. Mrs. Totten knew it all. Here's the piece of paper that was blocking Vivi's way. Old Age Saturday Night. My feet rest just below where the rug is warm. Now, you may say that a spot worn on a rug is just a worn spot on a rug. But it's also William Carlos Williams' Red Wheelbarrow. Nah, it's his white chickens. And I am watching my socks because they are keeping my feet warm enough, even though the heater is on and my wife is still here. We're listening to Bonnie Raitt. Earlier, we went out for coffee, and would you believe this? Chicago dogs. There are books piled on the floor. I know now the sorrow of unread books. The shelves not only hold those books I'll never read, but also the slight spaces between each. And I wonder if I move one, will it make me wonder if the shoes I took off earlier will be the ones I'll wear tomorrow? Why not? Try to be cheerful, be kind. Take care. Thanks. And here comes Vivi.